Hi everyone, my name is Yinka Orafidiya. I am a social practice artist here in Philadelphia, PA, and I'm also one of the co-organizers at the Color Network. And just want to take a minute to share with you my vision for change and what I think real change would look like. And short and sweet, it's an attitude, it's a culture in which artists and institutions choose to value people over profits. And that means anyone in your organization who is problematic, anyone on your leadership staff, your board, your donors, your collectors, your members, your students, anyone who contributes to your organization and is not in alignment with your values, your anti racist values, um, I'll know real change has occurred when organizations are ready to part ways with those people. And if that means losing someone who's partnered with you for the last 30 years, then so be it. Real change is about accountability. It's about transparency. It's doing the right thing, even when it's the most difficult thing. So all of these statements about standing in solidarity, um, I'm looking for action. I'm looking for action steps, and I'm looking for uh, uh, budgets that line items and budgets that are committed towards making real, sustainable change.
Hi, my name is Natalia Arbelaez, and I'm a ceramic artist and educator. Change for me would include hiring black and brown professors, especially women and non binary people, as we make up the smallest number and get paid the least in academia. If your school demographics are people of color, hiring the same demographics tell your student base that you believe in them and are invested. When I went through higher education, only one of the two Latinx serving institutions I attended had a Latinx fine arts professor, and that was at community college. If your school is in a city or community where the demographics comprise of people of color but isn't reflected in your student body, hire people of color so you can better understand how to serve and include everyone in your surrounding communities. So many times, colleges, universities, and institutions ignore the immediate communities that they are surrounded by. If your institution comprises predominantly of white student body, don't hesitate to hire people of color because you think we cannot connect to the student base. People of color, while navigating higher education, especially in the arts, are often the only one in the room. If we couldn't connect, we wouldn't be here. If you think your student body cannot connect to the professor of color, that is a problem.
So the change that I'd like to see is inspired by the book Between the World and Me by Taj Nehisi Coates, where he speaks of his experience as a student in Howard and for the first time in his life being surrounded completely by other black students. And for the first time in his life, he could let go of a lot of the fears that he had in the world that he grew up and lived in. And that makes me think of a desire to be around people who don't just see me for my race, but see me for much more and accept me for my differences, like the way I speak, the way I dress, my different perspectives on life, because all those things are based off of my lived experience as a person of color. So I want to live in a world where those things are celebrated.
I would like to see BIPOC narratives held with equal weight throughout our art institutions and schools. I believe we must consider how we approach these narratives historically and how we are addressing them currently. To me, this means whose cultural histories are you giving weight and validity to in your classrooms? We need to expand the cultures we pull from as teachers, widening the perspectives we give voice to. If you are a community, art center, or gallery, how do you give weight to BIPOC narratives? Who do you hire? Who teaches your workshops and classes? Who do you represent in your galleries? Who are you sharing the power of your institution with?
Change for me would be that you could walk into any sales gallery and ask to see a selection of artists that look just like you, no matter who you are. Positive change would also be less emphasis on Asian ceramics being the end-all to high quality. We can appreciate so many different cultures and traditions without there being a hierarchy over them. This would mean that galleries would have to commit to displaying such a diverse amount of artists for their full-time programming.
One of the changes that I think would benefit us in waking up from history are calls for entries. Like, why hasn't there been a pop-up yet of clay bodies and black bodies, or the surface of justice, to help us become part of the conversation in the world today of making art as if the world mattered, and not hide behind the aesthetic veil of art shouldn't be about these things, when it's always been about these things. The times are critical, and we have to move forward and be part of the solution. All right, thank you, and be well.
Change to create a safe, equitable, and inclusive society is ongoing, sustained work that requires more than just listening, but a daily call to action. Change for me means being fully aware of whose stories are being told loudly in a room, whose stories are only heard in whispers, and whose are never acknowledged or given a voice. For too long, we've been taught a white Eurocentric history that dominates the art world and its institutions. This hegemonic focus in creating, curating, and collecting only tells one story, and further suppresses the visibility and histories of Black, Indigenous, people of color, queer, trans, and non-binary people. It doesn't matter if you're just entering the art world or if you've been in it forever. This work is multi-generational, multicultural, and intersectional, and absolutely necessary.
We are tired of broken systems. We are tired of injustices. We are tired of inequalities. We are tired of the systemic racism that Black, Indigenous, and people of color experience daily. If you are an organization or an institution who loves talking about your diversity task force, that's a good start. And we need more from you. We invite you to put diversity and equity in the forefront of your vision, your budget, your calendar. And if you want to be inclusive, you need to give us a seat at the table, listen to us, work with us, and act with us. If you feel bad or sad because you realize that you're privileged, that is a good start, and we need more from you. Educate yourself about the history of this country from the perspective of the other, and you will learn who were the first looters in the Americas.